Hello, my darlings. It's yours truly, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Just kidding, guys. This brings me to talk about our latest review, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Seeing as recently we got a few good shout out from Elvira, who did this awesome video, shout out for us.
He
That
did,
was
very
really
good.
incredible.
Very impressive. Thank you, Cassandra.
Yes, thanks, Cassandra. So, who stars in this film and who directs
Well,
it and everything?
Did you actually tell anybody this is Boys and Ghouls?
Oh, well, yes.
Okay. This is Boys and Ghouls podcast. Okay, now, what are we going to do today,
This
whatever?
is my co-host, Mike.
Me. Okay, right. Okay. Now, Sarah's excited because she just loves Elvira.
Yeah, and I'm
and
so
so do I, actually. So I think she's a great personality.
Yeah,
Now,
she's super awesome.
hence, we are doing an Elvira film review.
Yes.
Aha. Now, what we're doing is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
That was made in 1988.
Yeah.
Or released.
Well, no, it wasn't. Well, whatever. It was released in 1988. It could take 50 years to make. It was released in 1988. Now, obviously, being Elvira in it, it's comedy horror, and I believe it was brilliantly executed for what it is. It is a satirical look at horror. So yeah, it's great. It's fun. It's a good fun movie.
Quite right.
Yeah, your little girl next door, or your little beautiful, sexy, good-looking gothic girl next door.
Or Ghoul next door,
Girl
whoever
next
you're
door.
talking
Yeah, exactly
about.
right.
Yes.
Is the lead in this as well. Now I'll just go
Yes.
through a few things. Now let's start with directed by James Signorelli. I think it's right pronunciation. Now, it was written by Cassandra Peterson. I think I've heard that name before somewhere. Sam Egan and John Paragon. Now, before I get into the cast, I'll talk. The budget was 7.5 million. However, it only did 5.5 million at the box office. I think it's done pretty good as had a reasonably good run with the home media side of DVDs or whatever. I've got no figures on that. Because people still talk about Elvira today. They still remember a hostessing, and they probably have seen the movie.
The hostess with the mostest. If
So
that's
I don't know. It should have done better at the theatres, but maybe bad timing, bad press, not enough press. Who knows? But anyway, irrespective, I'll run through some of the cast. I won't run through all of them. I'll just run through the main ones. Guess who's the lead role? Cassandra Peterson plays Elvira, and she plays her aunt, Morgana Talbot, who, we'll discuss that a bit further when we go into the plot.
Quite.
Now, George Morgan Shepherd plays Great Uncle Vincent Talbot, Vinny to his friends.
Yeah. About that, that they took two different people's names to create Vincent Talbot's name. The first one was from Vincent Price, no doubt.
Oh, yes.
That you probably heard. And Talbot came from, what's her name? Oh, yeah, here it is.
How do you got there? Lyle Talbot, who was actually in an Ed Wood movie?
Yeah, so they used
Yeah.
her last name for it. So they kind of... Yeah.
Lyle.
Lyle Talbot's last name was used for the last name for this character.
Right over here. Okay. Well, I'll take your word for it. Okay, now we have a Daniel Green plays Bob Redding in it. He's Elvira's love interest, and he's
the boy next door.
Not too bad, like a country boy next door. A good-looking guy, but
white ghoulish.
Well, Sarah likes him. And now Susan Kellerman plays Bob's jilted girlfriend, Patty.
Yeah.
She does not like Elvira.
Yeah, and she has tits
for obvious
that
reasons.
go up to out to here.
She had these enormous jugs, but hers were covered up, and we find out a bit later on that's a padded bra, and she's built like a boy almost, We won't there are three other people. I just mentioned their names. There's an Edie McClurg playing Chastity Pariah.
What names they come up with?
Robert Benedetti plays a Mr. Calvin Cobb, and a Kurt Fuller plays Mr. Glotter. And they're the three antagonists who are trying to railroad Elvira out of the county.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they get theirs later on in the movie, but we won't say anything now. But pretty much before Sarah takes over and tells you the gripping tale of the Mistress of the Dark, this was Cassandra Peterson's debut in a feature film. So this was the first go. I mean, she was a horror hostess and probably done some other things here and there, maybe done some stage work. But this is the first time she went into a feature-length movie and actually at the same time being the lead role. So good one, Cassandra.
Hands off.
Yay.
Hands off to you. Let's give her a round of applause. Yes.
Now, without further ado, Sarah's going to take over and tell you the ins and outs of the plot.
Yes. Well, this is as I said before, it's a ghouly movie, so you'll love it.
It's cool. It's fun. Yeah.
And again, as I often should mention it so often to you guys, if you haven't seen the movie, I suggest go see it now before we talk about it. Okay.
Before we talk about it, I mean after we talk about it.
After we talk, you see this review.
No.
So anyway, it starts off with Elvira working hard at movie Macabre, and she gets hit on by the new studio's owner.
Sexual harassment. Not very good, even those days.
And of course, Elvira doesn't take this anymore and decides to quit. And her agent is not too pleased that she's quitting because she doesn't have any money for her upcoming gig of playing in Las Vegas.
Yes, she's trying to get a show or opening at Las Vegas, but before they actually commit to doing the show for her or letting her do the show, they want her to put in $50,000 back in those days. That's her contribution to make it viable.
Yeah, quite right.
And she's skint, obviously. The girl next door stuff, this one day, the next,
soon enough, she gets a letter saying that her great aunt Morgana died and left her some inheritance.
Very nice.
Yes. So anyway, it takes place where Elvira has to go to a county in one of those.
Over in Massachusetts. Does that start ringing a bell, folks?
Yes. So this town, I'm not being nasty, but in this town, it's like they don't know the meaning of the word fun. No,
it's pretty. The adults run the show. The kids don't have too much fun. Everything's sort of suppressed, and the word FUN doesn't come into their vocabulary.
Yes. So anyway, Elvira goes over there, and they're a little surprised by her outfit and her behavior and her car.
I tell you what, though, the garage attendant noticed something about her.
Ooh,
nice jugs. No, whatever.
Well, I'm not going to say the words.
Jugs?
No, the other word he was going to use.
I wasn't going to say the other word.
Yes. So anyway,
he said,
she heads over there, and everyone's giving her the weird looks. Let's say, let's just say Chassis Price says that you don't fit in this town. You don't even fit in this dress.
Yeah, good line.
And of course, Elvira says, "Listen, Missy, if I want any of your opinions, I'll beat it out of you."
Yeah, good. That's another good line.
That's one of the things I like about Elvira. She's confident but knows how to stick it to you.
Yeah, but in a nicest possible way. She's a nice person in control.
Yes.
I like
yes.
that.
Soon enough, she meets Bob, the handsome boy next door,
who runs a local theatre house.
Yes, and he stood up to her, and they talk a bit, and it feels like there's some chemistry going there.
Oh, there's a lot of chemistry going on, at least from Elvira's end.
Soon enough, Elvira heads to the what they call it, the lawyer, the
Oh yeah, the lawyers, the solicitor's place, whatever, for the reading of the will.
Of course, Morgana's tenants get some cash.
Well, not tenants. Their servants. Yeah,
servants get cash, and her brother gets zilch, and Elvira only gets a house, a dog, and a recipe book.
Well, what's referred to as a cookbook. It's actually a spelled book, but it's referred to as a cookbook. Because obviously, you cook your potions up in your cauldron
Hint,
or,
hint.
or on the stove nowadays, you know.
Yeah.
And
But Vincent is aware that this cookbook is actually
a very powerful book. And he's
Yes.
also a warlock, you see.
Yeah.
And Morgana was a witch. And they were
Yeah.
always rivaling each other.
And Elvira tells him that I'll share my inheritance. You can have the dog. And he says, no.
Oh,
That
by the
I'll
way,
have the recipe book for sentimental, whatever.
let's stop a bit. Now, when Elvira gets this dog, it's a nice little poodle
Yes.
called Algonquin.
Yeah.
Didn't like the name Algonquin, so she changed his name to Gonk for short.
And gave him a new appearance.
Gave him a haircut and a dye job and everything else. This poor dog.
Yeah.
He didn't like his dye job. I don't think he didn't like his new name, but he stood by her.
Yeah.
He's actually a familiar. Surprise!
Before
Surprise!
I can go further, the house that Elvira inherits is actually resembles something like the Addams Family house.
Yeah, they're a bit, almost, or not quite an American to Carpenter Gothic, but
Close to
leaning
it.
in that direction. Yeah. Had a
And-
nice old feel about it.
Yeah, and Elvira figures if she sells it and if she repairs it, maybe then she'll be able to sell it for enough, well, possibly enough money to get her out of there.
Yeah, and get into Vegas and do her show.
Yes.
Aha.
Ah.
The plot thickens though, folks.
Yes, but fortunately, when they painted it up, and by the time they painted it, it looks like a clown
A
lives
clown
there.
house. Well, the kids painted it for. They bought the paint from
Yeah.
one of the kids' fathers had a hardware store, so
Yeah.
it brings all the paint down different
Yeah.
colours, mind
I like,
you.
I like
yeah.
Elvira's quote when she says, too bad he doesn't own the bank.
Yeah, he could have brought some money down. Yeah.
And of course, throughout this scene, you see her wearing a tight outfit, revealing and all that stuff.
yeah, Cassandra's got a hot body. I mean, that's her tool of the trade for the marketing. So,
Yes.
and look, she plays it so well. She doesn't come over as sleazy. She comes over as sexy. There's a
And
big
she's
difference.
really pretty.
It's, attractive, a nice personality. Like a girl next door who's a bit strange. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. So Elvira is pretty impressed with the house color-wise.
Yeah, well, I would live in it. But anyway,
Anyway, I would have left it the way it was before she coloured it in. I mean,
oh yeah, it needed.
maybe-
Hadn't seen you paint about 30 years or something. You know. Yeah. Something like-
anyway,
yeah.
the real estate guy comes by and he thought that he can hide the sausage with her.
We know what that means, folks. We won't explain it any further.
Yeah, but of course Elvira made it severely to the point that just because this house was up for grabs does not mean
And that
she was.
is. See, our good girl is always in control.
Of course, no one comes to the open house, and Elvira hopes to go look for a job in the neighbourhood.
And that the word goes around
And,
not to employ her, so it's really
Yeah.
trying to drive her out, which is really nasty.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
else could she do? She can't afford the money. What else she can do?
Yeah, poor Elvira.
Yes. So
Actually, it reminds me a little bit of the Good Witch who she came to town. What's her name?
I can't remember her name.
Yeah, Jessica. No, because I can't remember what her name was. Yeah, she comes to town there and goes through the same thing. She opens up a
Bit of a beauty, not boutique. I mean, more of a witch.
it's like a white witch
store.
sort of a thing. Yeah, selling charms and perfumes and herbs and different things.
Yeah, things.
And that's we don't want this sort of store in our town. Yeah, that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
even
yeah.
though she doesn't cast spells in that movie.
No, but she's a very nice lady, but everyone gives her a hard time trying to get rid of her. Same as poor old Elvira in this movie.
Yeah, so anyway,
Nasty
back
towns,
to the movie.
yeah.
Back to this movie.
Yeah.
She meets up with Bob, the nice guy.
Not Bob the
and-
Builder, is it? Oh, no.
So anyway, Bob it tells her that he's having a hard time with his money problems. He owns a cinema, which doesn't harbor any good new movies.
Yeah, it's only crappy ones because
Yeah.
they don't let him play this, won't let him play that, won't let him do this, won't let him do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those very controlling nanny state type
Oh,
towns.
yeah, big time.
It's trying to drives you nuts when you think about it.
Well, sort of like 1940s, 1950s style comes into the 21st century and it's still back in the 40s and 50s. Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah.
And luckily, Elvira decides to help him just before she saves her from falling down from the the screen, the board there.
Yeah, putting some signage up outside the front.
Yeah, it was it's funny how she gets one of the letters down
And we'll leave that one for your imagination, but something about teaching something or other.
how to fill in the blank.
Yeah, it starts with F, but we won't say anything more. Now,
Yeah, it kind of
because we'll get taken off the air probably.
Yeah, it kind of frightens Chastity Pariah when she sees it for the first time.
Yeah.
Anyway, Elvira gives Bob a very big, passionate kiss. If you've seen Elvira for yourself, you see how she kisses.
Well, she's about swallows him almost. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Bob likes it, I think.
Oh, he did, yeah.
She's all about the first...
Patty doesn't kiss like that.
Yeah, I imagine Elvira is always about being the first, always doing the first move when it comes to guys.
Never be backwards and coming forwards. Something
like that. So anyway, Elvira decides to help Bob by airing a few of her old classics.
Movies that she used to hostess. Yeah.
And she decides to invite all the kids in the neighborhood to come watch it.
Against their parents didn't want them to come, but she talked them into coming.
Yeah, somehow the principal of the school school tells them if anyone has associates with Elvira,
they'll be expelled.
They'll be expelled or suspended.
And that's a bit damn rude. That obviously, that's.
Yes.
So what's the word? Like a big brother sort of, nanny state. Yeah, not very good.
I did say it was like an...
Yeah, not like it. Yeah. But yeah, they were threatened and they all decided to band together and go anyway. And all those kids went to the theatre for this late night film festival that Elvira put on.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. I liked it when she sat on the couch and, as per usual, bad mouths the movies. She does that in a cute way.
In the nicest possible way.
Yes.
It's not really a troll. No.
No.
He's just picking the out of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool.
I can't use naughty words.
Yeah, and soon enough after the movie finishes, she does a bit of a dance routine similar to probably Flashdance, if you've seen it.
Oh, somewhat, but
yeah.
And at the end of it, she has supposed to have this nice bucket of glitter tip all over her, and Patty got in there, and she filled it with tar. And she had a feather pillow.
Yes, and you guessed it, tar and feathered.
So poor old Elvira got tarred and feathered. Looked like a black chicken. No.
Soon enough, they finish up and she goes home, cleans off the tar and stuff.
With using gasoline.
Yeah, soon enough she probably smells like gasoline.
She did. Actually, didn't Bob say, "What's a funny perfume?" It's gasoline. I suggest you wouldn't smoke around here. Something like that.
Yes. Anyway, she decides to cook Bob a nice traditional meal.
And she gets Morgana's cookbook.
Yeah.
She's looking for all in funny language. Oh look, casserole. That must be a casserole.
Yes.
Funny spelling though.
So she takes things from the shelf, puts them into the mixture. It looks like a bit of a mixture of worms and other stuff.
Yeah.
I won't tell you what.
The end of it didn't look too bad. It looked like a really horrible coloured stew.
Yeah, she kind of added a few non-ingredients of her own by
some corn chips and stuff.
And string cheese, I think.
And it makes it look a bit better.
And anyway, she serves it up and guess what happens? A creature comes popping out of it.
And that's Mr. Casserole. That's Mr. Casserole.
Yes. Of course, they were able to get it into
the garbage disposal
and dispose of it.
Poor little thing. It wasn't his fault.
Yeah, and eventually, Gong. What was the name of Gog?
Gonk.
Takes the recipe book and heads up to the
Yeah,
attic.
that's right. He took it to the attic to get Elvira to follow him.
Yeah, so Elvira and Bob follow the dog, and they head to the attic where there's a very big trunk there.
And a letter.
Yes.
Marked to Elvira.
Yeah. Gee. Yeah. Where
wasn't Gonk clever?
Yeah. Where Morgana writes that she was a witch, yada yada yada, and
which was she?
And her mother, Elvira's mother, was also a witch, and she kind of was. What did she say in the story?
Oh, I can't remember now. I was laughing too much. I can't remember. But anyway, irrespective, they got Elvira what's the word?
Get
Want to hide her from Uncle Vinny.
yeah, most likely.
Yeah, because Elvira would have the power as well. You see.
Yes, most likely. So anyway, and Elvira assumes that now that she has this recipe book, she could probably really conjure the money.
Yeah, and so she does. Tries. Oh, there's moolah. So she says, "Okay, I'll try a moolah spell."
Yeah.
It actually conjures up a dirty, great big boa constrictor.
Yeah.
That doesn't work either, does
Yeah.
it?
Luckily, it they kill it before it gets out of hand, and Elvira and Bob get a night. Well, apparently something.
Kissy. But we didn't see that bit. But it's for the kiddies. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, the next morning, a lot of the townspeople are at a country picnic, I think.
Yeah, picnic day or something. Like, it could be a Founders Day picnic or something. Or
And the kids are there feeling like they're being punished for
why we're here again.
being there.
Yeah, the adults having a wonderful time eating all nice food on the tables and whatever.
And Elvira decides to serve her own branch of food.
Yeah, so she makes this nice little meal up there, hoping to do something to them.
Yes,
But
a little payback.
Yeah, but she didn't have all the right ingredients, so she made up her own version of it by changing it.
Yes.
And what happens is, instead of doing something nasty to them, it was the really powerful aphrodisiac.
That's probably it.
That's the word.
Yes, anyway, it causes trouble. People started
taking his clothes off and having a big orgy and everything. And everybody was having a wonderful time. I don't know why they complained.
I don't know. Anyway, by the time everyone regains their sanity, they feel like that everyone has been,
you violated me. You violate me. Yeah.
Stuff like it's like they're all drunk and they decided to pass blame on each other.
Yeah, it was so funny.
Yes.
Especially the nasty lady.
Yes, so eventually Vincent tells them that it's all Elvira's fault and they should do what their ancestors should do.
Yeah, because they were still in Massachusetts and they still had laws there regarding burning of witches.
Uh-oh.
Burn the witch, burn the witch. Yeah, okay.
So anyway, Elvira was placed in jail and Bob's there to comfort her, tells her that he'll try to get a lawyer in and hopefully get her out of jail tomorrow. But that very night, she's going to be burnt.
She's going to barbecue. She's the main course. And they had a little steak there for the dog too.
Oh, poor dog.
Well, he changed into a mouse around a hole in the wall.
Yes.
Smart dog.
Yes. And anyway, Elvira tells Bob to go find the recipe book and try it and hopefully be able to use it, even though Elvira doesn't know anything about Latin.
No.
No. So, meanwhile, the kids, the high school students, they try to break her out.
Yeah, by cutting a hole in the ceiling, and actually, they fall into the cell next door.
Yes.
So they're locked in. Kids can't help her. Gee.
Right, it's right.
Yeah.
So
kids, they're still stupid today.
So anyway, Bob does go to her house. He finds the book, and he gets knocked out by Vincent and his accomplices.
Henchmen, yeah.
But
don't worry, Gonk comes along, as a rat, chews through his ropes,
saves the day. Saves him eventually.
Yeah.
Anyway, Elvira gets dragged to the stake, and of course they start burning her a little bit here and there. Incidentally, just before you know, Elvira's costume that I should mention,
it was very nice.
Which is very nice.
Very revealing.
Is cut in a specific way, and her hair is long enough to the back to hide burn scars that she has in real life.
About 30% of her body's got
neck and shoulders from an accident in her youth.
It was 30% of her body's got scar tissue, and
yes.
You wouldn't know. I mean, the dress is really good and revealing, and you don't see a bit of scar tissue. All you see is a beautiful lady.
Yeah, and you probably wonder to yourselves, why does the costume have to be so similar to vampires almost?
Yeah.
Well, not so similar.
Well, it's not similar. It's not similar. You just said that. It's not similar. The only thing it's similar about is black. That's it, really, honestly. But anyway, Elvira. She's at the stake. How does she realise she got that ring on her finger?
She just goes for a flashback, and she remembers Morgana's words or from the letter.
Yeah.
Then she remembers the ring. So she may have remembered that ring has been with her since she was
child.
Infancy.
and she gets a hand loose, and she makes it rain. I don't know how
Yeah.
she knew to do that, but hey,
Yes. At least it didn't require a book, so you know.
nope, make
Yeah.
it rain now.
Yes.
Now,
Soon
right now.
enough, soon enough, everything. She finally Bob gets her loose, and then they notice the full moon, and hints that Vincent has the book, and that means that he's gonna do something bad.
Oh, by the way, now the film, Vincent needed the book around now because it was an alignment of the planets or something or other like that, and it had to be every so many hundreds of years. This would line up, and he wanted to do the special spell using the book so he can be the master of the world. One of those sort of things. Megalomaniac like you wouldn't believe, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
So anyway, so they found this out, and of course he comes around in the streets. He starts chanting the spells, and
Yeah.
Chastity Pryor, the
And the other
and the other people
loonies from the
that,
PNC.
that backstabbed Elvira get turned to pigs.
Yeah, what a lovely spell. He's a kind, wonderful man.
Hey, if when Vincent dies, do they stay as pigs?
I don't know. Yeah, normally you'd think that but he didn't die. I don't think he was actually transferred to the Netherworld. So he did. I don't think he actually died. So maybe his spells would stay in place.
Maybe. So anyway,
Chastity would stay a pig. What a
Oink.
great casting for her.
so anyway, Elvira has to face Vincent on her own, and Bob is no help because he ends up thrown against the wall.
And her gets a sore neck and everything,
Yes.
and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But
So
anyway, they battle out. I mean, he has some sort of power, a little bit like Darth Vader and the Emperor and stuff. And they're having a battle like that, and she got her ring on and different things, and right.
and suddenly, she accidentally flashed her hand out, and guess what? The ring slips
slides off.
and hit right onto his hand.
On his finger. You couldn't do that in a million years. But anyway, he got the ring.
Of course, she runs for it, and she tries her absolute hardest to beat him in comedy relief ways.
But anyway, he follows her back to her place there, and they start running around there, and then he starts trying to zap her with a ring and different things, start setting fire to the house, different things, yada yada yada.
Yeah,
and
finally-
she cuts his hand off and gets the ring back.
Yeah, and he finally gets zapped to gosh knows where.
On the Netherworld, I believe he didn't actually. You know, like in that Son of Dracula, where Baron Frankenstein was sent away into the universe for 100 years. I think he was spirited away somehow or other. Yeah.
So anyway, Elvira's house catches fire. She's about trying to get the recipe book, but she was reminded again in the flashbacks that she carries the power wherever she goes.
So
Meaning
it's
she doesn't
in
need the book.
Elvira. It doesn't need the spell book.
Yeah. So
She's a powerful woman.
yes. Soon enough, the next morning, the house in disrepair.
It's not a total burnout shell, but it's not livable anymore.
Yeah. And Elvira is a little upset that the ring she has now is just another
It's junky jewelry.
product placement prop. Yes.
But anyway, she's getting ready to say, I don't know what to do, I might leave and whatever.
Yeah.
And the town folks come there in a big mob.
Yeah,
She
you
thinks,
think
"Oh,
it's another lynch
here
mob
we
thing.
go.
But eventually
Yeah.
they tell her that they don't want her to leave.
We want you to stay.
Yes.
Yeah, because she's made the town lively and sort of free and everything, and made the children happy, and the birds were singing, and
Yes.
and the dogs and cats were friends, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, some of the people, even Patty, were able to say they're sorry.
Yeah. I think she's sort of coerced into that, maybe.
Yes. So anyway, the lawyer that we seen at the
At the beginning.
in the beginning
Yeah.
tells her that you're the Vincent's
Sole
sole
beneficiary.
beneficiary money
Because
goes to you now.
So she gets all his estate, which is sizable, I believe. I believe he's got some decent, a nice house and offices and so and so
And
and
has
money.
lots of money. So Elvira can live out her dream and finally achieve her dream of becoming
A showgirl in Vegas, her own show. mind you.
yes.
And then obviously the next
see,
the next scene she's actually doing a dance routine in Vegas.
Yes.
She's the queen of the stage.
Yes.
And so it's not a bad stage routine. And
Yes. And she does a great job at it.
she does.
Yes.
And-
Blows everyone one's minds away.
Didn't you say she was a dancer as well years ago?
Yes, she was.
It shows. She works well. Yeah.
So anyway, Elvira achieved a dream, and Bob is there with her still.
Yeah.
So,
He came to Vegas.
yeah, and they may start having a full-time relationship or whatever.
Nice.
So that's about it. And we fade out where she says, "Unpleasant dreams," and winks at the camera in the fourth wall kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. There was a sequel, but that's not. It's a standalone sequel.
Well, it was the sequel just to follow another movie.
Yes,
A sequel when it follows the same storyline. The other one is Haunted Hills, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's not a sequel. It's just another movie.
I suppose not.
But this is the first movie, and we think it is funny as hell. And the only reason why it's as funny as hell is because Cassandra dash Elvira is in it. If anybody else did it, it would be a lame-o movie.
Yeah, did you know that...
She makes it what it is.
That Elvira wanted Tim Burton to direct the movie, but during the time, he was actually making the movie Beetlejuice at that time.
Oh, okay.
So he couldn't work on it.
Yeah, so we can,
Although, I imagine if you given him half the chance, if he didn't, he could have made an interesting movie with Elvira.
Well,
think about it, considering that his movies are always
Tim
gothic
Burton
and
has
dark.
a thing about him too. He's a bit strange. No, I liked him. Yeah, he does a good product. Yeah.
Yes. So as I mentioned Vampira before. This is an interesting thing. You probably may not have heard, or you have heard.
Back in 1954-55 period, they had something like Elvira hosting TV horror movies once a week. Okay, they used a lady, Marley Numi or something.
Yeah.
And she was playing a role similar to Elvira, not the same, similar, a female hostess, and being some sassy remarks and whatever. And she ran for about 50 weeks, and then they canned it.
Yeah, one season.
Because they had they had an argument. She wanted. I think the TV show wanted the rights to her character that she developed, and she wouldn't sell them the rights, so they had a parting of the ways. Something like that. Now, about 30 years later, along comes a TV studio wants to do the same thing, and they got some casting happening, and Elvira, or Cassandra, comes in, and she makes the Elvira personality. Now, go figure it out. There's a very, very good chance Elvira's never seen Vampire, because none of it was ever recorded. It was all live. So how could she copy Vampira?
Good point.
So yeah, so there's a bit of a legal dispute between Vampira trying to claim that Elvira copied her and took it to court, and it was thrown out of court because there's no grounds for it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised. She said, didn't she say in a statement that 50, a lot of the Elvira has copied every single bit from Vampire? Or?
But how could she copy? She's never seen it.
Yeah, true.
She could not see something which hadn't been recorded. It was live, and Elvira would have been, in 1954, she would have been about 3 years old.
True.
Or maybe 4. And I'm sorry, yeah, and that's why it got thrown out of court. She had nothing to refer to, so how could she copy it?
Yeah, true.
And the dress might have been similar, a long black dress. Morticia Adams wears a long black dress.
Yeah, didn't you tell me that once or twice that Vampire got the idea from Morticia Adams' outfit?
No, well, I don't know about Morticia Adams, but when I was reading some things there, the evil queen out of Snow White and the Walt Disney production, she's got some ideas from that, and some actresses and whatever. So she developed it from other sources, and she got inspiration. But all she got was a black dress and a nasty attitude that she developed for the hostessing. And she was really over the top with, I ain't going to drink this blood and blah, that sort of stuff. Elvira doesn't do that. She's like the girl next door down the basement on a couch talking to people on the boob tube.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, 2 boob tubes. Sorry.
Yeah, well, anyway, as I was saying, as to the movie, they weren't going to do the Las Vegas scene technically. Originally, they were going to omit it from the from the shooting script because the NBC executives thought that would be too expensive to build the set. So the movie was shot and edited without this scene, and then screened for NBC, the executives, to decide on whether or not to fund more money for the Vegas finish, which Sandra really wanted.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the executives just later liked the film enough to fund the Vegas scene. The scene was shot a month later in a warehouse in don't know where it is, but
In a warehouse.
but some part of the song and dance were deleted from the movie a little bit. Some
There you go.
edits bits.
Well, yeah,
a bit
you
off.
didn't want too long. It wasn't a musical.
True.
It's comedy, so yeah.
But still, it's kind of good that they kept that bit. I mean, I don't think I would have loved it if it were left it off a cliffhanger.
Well, no, it was you wanted to go to Vegas. Oh, going to Vegas. No, what was going to be Vegas? A show. So we saw the show, well, part of the show, and it was good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a bad.
A good closer.
And a good closer. Yeah. It's not over till. I was going to say it's not over till Fat Lady sings. She definitely ain't no fat lady. No.
Right.
But no, what was I going to say? Reception. It wasn't very positive.
Yeah, practically, when they did the film reviews for this movie, I'm sad to say that Cassandra got worst actress award.
Or nominated. No. She was nominated, exactly, in 1988, which is a couple of years later. It was nominated for the worst picture for Stinker's Bad Movies Awards and the worst actress through Golden Raspberry. Now, 2 years later, only 2 years later, it was nominated as the best film at Fantasporto, and Best Actress at Saturn Awards.
Sweet.
2 years makes a big difference, folks. How things change.
Yeah,
I don't go by the critics. I go by what I like watching.
And I mentioned to you guys that these guys who were doing the funding, they came close to being broke, and they couldn't mainstream the whole film out to every area, so they had to do probably half.
A local release, was it?
Yeah, a few local releases here and there.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame, though, because it's a good, fun movie.
And of course, the movie got a lot of negative, bad reviews from it.
Well, look, it wasn't a good. No, it's a good movie, but compare it to a good mainstream A-grade movie, it would not in the same sort of class, even though it's a good movie. And that's probably what they're looking at. They say, okay, it's not as good enough. We're gonna put it through. Alfred Hitchcock had the same problem with Psycho. They said, we'll let you release it 3 theatres. That's it. And tough. Bugger off there. They didn't want to do it. It became his best movie.
Yeah, and not to mention this movie is...
The studios didn't get it right.
Yeah, they always seem to get it wrong in the end sometimes.
They often do, yeah. This is a good movie. This should have had more exposure, and I think it would have done better at the box office.
I agree. I would have loved to see this movie in the movie theatres.
Well, yeah, here's something. I mean, this is just totally off in a different direction. Once upon a time, back in the late 60s, there was a musical documentary done. Oh, what was the name? Oh, it was called Woodstock. Now, that was a documentary about a 3-day musical weekend, and it was put through all the art houses. It wasn't put through mainstream theatres. Now, that went on for months and months and months and months all over the world. It went on it went on TV, went on to tape, went on to DVD. The music went out. Everything. It's made a squillion who had a financial problem on the weekend, but made it money up through the distribution of the films and everything. So you can't tell until you put it out there and see what the people's response is. Now, if they put this out there, I reckon the box office would have been a lot better, but they didn't do it. So you can't say it was bad because it didn't get the box office. They didn't syndicate it enough through the theatres.
True.
They didn't distribute it properly. So that's why I'm saying, I mean, you can't always go by that. If no one sees it, how can they say it's good or bad?
Yeah, true. So these reviewers have no clue.
Yeah, they're idiots sometimes. They're just number crunchers. Shame. Yeah, how do we get some artistic people actually in there running the studios?
Yeah, or at least some...
Not just accountants.
True.
Yeah. I'm not being nasty or horrible to the guys running the studios. The number crunchers have to be there to make sure we've got some money to make the movies. But
But-
they need to have a watchdog committee there saying, "Don't be so bloody minded all the time."
Yeah, as I was saying, and here's another thing. The at the beginning, we see an anchor woman that was giving Elvira a hard time.
Yeah.
And and this was based off a real anchor woman that was giving Cassandra a hard time in a film studio
Yeah.
a while back.
Because obviously she was, I'm upmarket, I'm so and so, I'm wearing a nice business suit here, I'm on TV, and I'm prim and proper, and you look like a sleazy woman of the night sort of thing, dressed up in your black gear and all your makeup. So she had an attitude problem. I look at Elvira and say, she's not sleazy. She does look like a hooker. She looks like a really nice, sexy, gothic girl next door.
Yeah.
And that's how she's always come over to me ever since I've seen her. Back in the 80s when I first saw her. She is a very sexy lady.
Agreed.
But she's not sleazy. She's not putting it out there trying, hey, she's just, it's only what your mind wants to put into it. So you can't attack the lady for that. It's only people's dirty minds and their false standards and stuff. So
yeah. I do like the funny jokes Elvira comes up with in this scene, like in the bowling alley scene where she says, "If you remember me for two things, that Elvira is not just a great set of boobs, she has a great pair of legs."
That's her. and if you remember me, just two simple words. Any two simple words.
Yes.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
And I remember once
she was a co-writer. I don't know if she wrote those lines, but those little quips were so good.
Yeah, and I remember another scene where she's ordering drinks from a bowling alley, and she wanted a Bloody Mary, obviously, and the lady says no alcohol, but do you want a virgin? And she says,
After the
maybe,
drink.
but after a couple of drinks.
And that was,
I love it.
The little one-liners.
I have been wondering. I've been trying to look up whether or not Elvira Cassandra ever ad-libbed in her roles in the movie Macabre or in this movie.
I think she ad-libbed a little bit here and there. I mean, if it's fun at the time and something spontaneous comes up, is it spontaneity, Robert? And that is, it can sometimes be funnier than the script.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember the part at the same place there, those guys are trying to hit on her? Yeah. And she picks up the beers and pours them into their laps? Now, that was obviously staged. But little things like that, the look on their faces, it's not necessarily staged. If you get a cold drink thrown in your lap, guys, yeah, I know what I'm going to look like.
Yeah. I liked it when she used that fake little knife that she has around her waist.
Yeah, it's really a retractable plastic knife. You know,
it was so cute, especially when it retracts.
Yeah. It's cute. She's a formidable lady.
Yeah.
I mean, both Cassandra and Elvira.
Yeah, I love it.
The real one and the pretend one. They're both the same lady and they've both got the same attitude. Yeah. I'm in control and let's go for it.
I loved it. This other word that she said at the park where she says, "Revenge is better than Christmas." I love that when she did that when she was trying to take revenge on the some of the townspeople.
Yeah, at the picnic. Yeah, I was having to think. Yeah, that thing she made up, which was accidentally made into an aphrodisiac, was supposed to have a monster come out of it, and she got the recipe wrong. She used some mince instead of the of some of the other ingredients. Yeah, I haven't got any of that left. I'll put something else in, and
I think it was hamburger helper.
Yeah, somewhat. But whatever, she put things in it. Was she got the recipe wrong and made
into an aphrodisiac.
made her own recipe up. Well, it worked.
Yeah, it was
made
hilarious.
people really happy.
Yeah, it was a bit of a relief that some of the kids didn't eat that stuff.
Well, it could have been. No, the kiddies wait in line. Let the adults go first. Lucky they did. Yeah.
Well, I didn't like Chastity Prize. She was nasty.
No, that lady, Edie McClurg, played a good role. She really played what you'd expect a snooty...
Upclass woman?
No, not upclass. Just a social conscious sort of country woman you'd perceive it to be like. And she came out... She did it so well.
Yeah, she was practically asking for it.
Yes, but she was just... She was very funny in her own way.
Yeah. Yeah, I certainly liked it that she got her just desserts.
Yeah, if you like bacon.
Yeah, I do like to. Would have loved to see a post-credit scene of them in a pig farm.
They're the sweet little pigs.
Yeah,
Oh, whatever.
and they're still speaking in their human voices, saying, "What are we gonna do now?" And one of them says, "Oh, shut up."
Yeah, that'd be really nice.
That would be funny to find out what became of them too.
Well, yeah, if they weren't so nasty and horrible, they wouldn't have been turned into little piggies.
Yes.
But anyway, irrespective. Actually, I will get one thing here. I had something here I was going to bring up. I bet it gets onto the critics there. I mean, critics
will come and go, Mike.
things like Rotten Tomatoes stuff. Only people they base their critiques on who goes onto their site and makes a vote, yay or nay or whatever. Now, out of 20 reviews, we got 20.
20.
How do you get? Yeah,
how do you get 20
sorry,
and
you
and
can't
come
say,
up
"Oh,
with
it's crappy
zero?
because these people didn't like it." They could have seen 20 people who were voting on everything, and
Yeah,
their taste might be up there.
Yeah,
in
I
the rear.
mean, I
Yeah,
love didn't we the other day come across when we were looking at a review for a movie, and I think it was The Room that we were looking at, and
Yeah, The Room with that
there were
Tommy wasn't whatever his name
yeah,
was.
and we saw 3 comments there that were written the same
By 3 different people. They'll cut and paste, saying how wonderful he was, and again, you wonder how many people are doing it, and I have been told by media teachers, who I know quite well, that they hold that movie up to be the worst movie in the world, and to use this as an example to teach their students on how not to make a movie. And these people are saying how wonderful it is. I'm sorry.
I keep wondering how many friends they may have asked to write a review
Yeah,
on this.
or these people must be living under a rock because there's really good movies out there, and that ain't one of them. But anyway, just getting back onto you can't always go by reviews because reviews are personal.
Yeah.
I will always say, if in doubt, have a look yourself, jump in, both feet. It's what it's going to cost you. You rent one for a couple of bucks, have a look at it, didn't like it, you've lost a couple of bucks and maybe in half an hour, or an hour and a half, whatever, of your time.
Yeah.
But you might be pleasantly surprised in a movie you might watch. Hey, it's not as bad as everyone said it was.
Yeah, and this movie doesn't leave me questioning too many things. I mean, that's I like some of those movies where you don't question what goes on.
Yeah, you just roll with it.
Just roll with
it's a comedy. I mean, whoever questioned the Three Stooges or Laurel and Hardy? It just happened. How ridiculous it was. No one cared. They had a good time and they laughed at it. Charlie Chaplin, totally ridiculous. It was fun. Everyone had a good time. They laughed at it. This is a comedy. Everyone have a good time. Watch it.
Although
Hey.
I do have one thing I'm not exactly going to pick.
What's that?
I'm a little surprised that Elvira didn't think the house looked good before it was painted Brazar colours.
Yeah, but she liked it because he's supposed to be a bit weird and strange taste, and she liked all the bright colours that look like a clown house. You know, it's that's part of the humour. I mean, the average person say shock, horror, I hate it, but she liked it, you see?
Yeah.
And that's the sort of funny thing you have to play with in a comedy.
I certainly like the dog that she had.
Algonquin, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Algonquin? It's a real, Algonquin,
Yeah, and
Gonk for short.
Oh, an interesting fact I found out. You may see in one of the naked scenes. Well, not really naked scene. When she's getting undressed scene.
I was getting behind the.
You may see a tattoo on her. Her top part of her arm.
Bat, is it?
A bit of a bat.
Yeah, bat, yeah.
And I read somewhere that years later she decided to tattoo her arm using the same.
Yeah, in the early days only drawn on there or transfer or something. But now she did the other lady.
So she went to a lady somewhere probably in a tattoo parlor, and asked her to do the tattoo. And it looks pretty good. I think it's great that Elvira or Cassandra wants to go out and do something really credible.
To me, Cassandra is a talented lady, and she can do whatever she likes.
True.
And she's almost 70 now, and she looks amazing.
Yeah.
She's fit looking. I've seen her on some interviews recently, and apart from a couple of wrinkles creeping in, and a few things. She's still marvelous. And
Yeah, I still think
she's
she's
a
very
powerhouse.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And I don't see anyone ever replacing her.
I can't. They had that in search for the new Elvira thing. I don't know whatever happened with that.
Well,
It was not.
I think it was they weren't going to really necessarily. I don't think they were going.
When was it done? A couple of years ago? Or?
It was done a couple of years ago, but I don't think they were going to intentionally have her Elvira replaced or anything like that.
No, it's just a fun thing.
It was
but
just one of those beauty contests
so
things.
who could be the best copy of Elvira? And the girl, who was it?
April.
April, whoever
She
her
was
name is.
cool.
She did a really good job. She looked the part, had the attitude. Not quite the same as Cassandra doing it, but
Yeah,
she
and
was
not
pretty
knocking
close,
the other
yeah.
girls and Guy, I should say.
Who was the other? April and Jenny? Was it?
Jenny.
The Chinese little girl. Yeah, she wasn't bad either. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not knocking any one of the girls, but some of them did capture a little bit of Elvira, and others didn't.
And some caught a cold because they had no idea.
Yeah, some of them turned on too much sexuality.
Yeah.
Others put too much of themselves in the role.
Yeah, they're supposed to be doing Elvira.
Yeah, I know it's.
And there's only one Elvira,
Yeah,
Cassandra.
I know that in the acting profession, they often say make the role your own, which is do. But
this one is different. You were copying. Look, okay, let me put it to you and the listeners out there. If someone says go play Frankenstein in a movie, you know Frankenstein's going to be walking around stiff-legged and grunting a lot. He doesn't have too many words to say in most movies, and he's not going to be doing line dancing with the girls at the club, is he? No. He will be a grunting hulk of a guy staggering around like a stiff Gumby.
Yeah,
Okay?
true.
Okay. He can't put you into it. You can do a little bit, but you can't change it if you're supposed to be copying something.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, how do you want to rate this movie now?
Look, I'm going to have to give this up around 9.5 to 10 because I think it's great fun. The story works. It is a comedy. So you tend to make allowances for that's strange, that's weird, but it's a good story. The story works. It flows well. The costume's good. The acting's good. The scene's good. Yada yada yada. So I'll stretch it to a 10. I don't normally give a 10. But because
I'm going to stretch it to a 10 too.
This is pretty much an independent production, wasn't it? Yeah, and for an independent, damn fine work. Yeah.
Hey, let's give my ground a applause.
Hey, Cassandra! Yay!
So thanks.
And this is from Sarah and Mike. Cassandra, we love you and thank you for the cameo you did for us too.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up for the cameo.
You're a good woman.
Yes, so...
Hope to meet you if we get over to America one day. We might come over to Sundance Film Festival or something or other. She might be hanging around, you know.
Well, fingers crossed for that. If she's unavailable, we'll say something nice to you. All the same. So that's about it. So to you, Elvira, Cassandra, wherever you are, this is for you. Unpleasant dreams.
We love you.
See you around.
Bye.
Elvira.